Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Holboy Entertainment Industry Podcast. My name is Wesley Holboy, and I'm here today just to talk a little bit about myself. It's a little self-centered, but that's okay. I just want to tell my opinions and my thoughts on the main points that I touch on in the Holboy Entertainment Industry Podcast. I just want to give kind of my answers so that they're out there, so that we can mainly focus on my guests that I have on the show going forward. So, starting out, I wanted to talk a little bit about photography. In photography, I started out shooting on a T3i, I think. So I started on a T3i back in high school, didn't really know what I was doing, and I slowly started learning more and more about how to properly operate a photography camera, and then I started getting into video production a little bit more, and photography took a bit of a backseat. And then probably in the last junior year, maybe senior year of high school, I started using my photography camera more. I actually bought my own. I bought my first camera ever, which was my Nikon D5200. Amazing, wonderful camera. I was so happy with it, and I still have it and I still use it, and it's a fantastic camera. It's old and you can get better versions of it now for about the same price, but that line of cameras is a really good starting out camera, and I was impressed with it. And so I started doing more photography. I started a monthly photography thing for my company. I didn't like it as much as it went further, just because I was forcing myself to do photography so often, and so I got super burnt out on photography. So I stopped for probably almost a year, just no photo at all. And it was actually really nice, because now I like photography a lot more, so I do it quite a bit more, and I'm really happy that I got to that place, because that would have bummed me out to just totally stop doing photography altogether. That would have sucked. And then now I have a Nikon D60 is my main photo camera. It's a pretty old camera. I think it's early 2000s, but it still has that really awesome Nikon color profile that I just adore. Just all the colors really pop really nice. And then I still have my Nikon D5200, as I said. I don't use it for photography anymore. I use it mainly as my B camera to my GH5 that I'm recording the video version of this podcast with. And it still does a pretty good job, and I've been impressed with how it's been able to keep up. I would say that my favorite lens that I have, and I said it in episode 1 of this podcast, my favorite lens is my Nikon 35mm lens. It's just so fantastic. It's my favorite focal length, just gorgeous image, and is probably my favorite lens. The 50mm lens that I've got on the camera that I'm recording the video version of this with, I guess it's actually 25mm. It's 50 effective because of the 2x crop, but I really like this lens because of the form factor. It's really small, and it still gives you a very, very crisp image, and I enjoy that a lot. And I've been able to use it with photography lately, and it produced some really great images. So I'm going to just touch on the computers that I use, kind of like my little midpoint in between photo and video. So, as I said, I started out on an iMac. I talking about that with Jay in episode 1, and it was a great computer at first. I mean, I learned how to do video editing and photo editing on a Mac based. I can't remember what it was. Like a 2006 iMac. It was pretty old, but great computers. I love them a lot. But as I started progressing into my career, I started to see that not being able to upgrade your machine without the risk of some damage, I just started to decide that PC was a little bit more friendly for me because I like to buy at what I need and upgrade going forward. Because I feel like buying a computer for a future project or a future need doesn't make a whole lot of sense, just because you buy this computer that has all of this potential and you're wasting it possibly if you're not using up all that potential with your projects. And so I bought a desktop. It was a pretty old desktop. It was like old motherboard, old graphics card, but it was probably the best graphics card I'd had yet. And using that, it was really, really nice because I got to kind of learn a computer again, because I hadn't used a PC-based computer in so long. And so that was a lot of fun. And then I was working with it, figured out that I needed to upgrade it so that I could use Premiere and I could use After Effects. And I saw that it was going to cost me like $500 or $600 to upgrade it, and I just thought, why should I upgrade it when I could buy a laptop that will be able to do more and it will be portable. So then I bought I have it on my desk over there. It's an Acer Nitro 15. Wow. I mean, it is such a fantastic computer, and I enjoy it a lot. And I did a 32 gig RAM upgrade onto it. I think I touched on that a little bit with Jay in the last episode. And it's a fantastic computer. I'm very impressed with it, and it's really, really nice. And kind of my plans going forward is that I want to be able to make it so that I can take this laptop with me anywhere I go and be able to be comfortable editing. Like, because I've got a van and I travel all across the country in that. I'd really like to build kind of a dock inside my van so that I can set up screens and just be able to like sit in there and edit something for probably not super long periods of time, but be able to edit. That'd be really, really cool. And that's kind of my next move that I want to do. And I'm very, very excited about that. So video production, which is my absolute passion. I love video production more than like anything ever. It's so much fun, and I get to meet so many cool people, and it's like my favorite way to express art and express anything, really. It's a wonderful tool that I've found in life, and I'm so happy that I found it as young as I did and started committing to it as young as I did. But I started making videos when I was about 9. I mean, they're stupid little comedy skits. I mean, if you can even call them comedy skits. They're bad. A handful of them were extremely offensive, but I was a kid. I didn't really know exactly what I was doing at the time. And so I just kind of slowly was doing video, I didn't see it as a career path at all growing up. And then in high school, I got a traumatic brain injury, so I couldn't play soccer for it was the season in my sophomore year. And so I couldn't play soccer that season. So I had to figure out something to do to occupy my time. And I took a video production class in high school just kind of on a whim, just because I thought it'd be fun and be easy, because I knew how to work on computers, or not work on, but work with computers. And so I just took the class on a whim, and I pretty quickly found that I still really, really enjoyed video production like I did when I was a kid. And I started doing it more in the class, and I started staying after school for like up to 3 or 4 hours just working on videos, and it was super, super fun. And then my teacher offered to connect me with some people through the city of Mount Vernon to do an internship. So I started my internship there, interned for 3 months, got a job. I was 17 at the time, so the youngest employee of the city of Mount Vernon, which was pretty cool. And it was actually a bit of a pain just getting all the paperwork because they didn't know what to do hiring a minor. And so, I mean, once I got all that out of the way, I started working there, and that was just a joy. I learned so much through them, and I worked there. Let's see, I put in my notice there. Man, I'm coming on probably 4 months ago now, but I worked there for nearly 5 years, or it was just over 4. And it was a great learning experience, but it was starting to kind of weigh on me. I was enjoying video less and less, and I just got out of there, and now I make more videos, and I'm enjoying it a lot more now that I'm out of that atmosphere. I'm really happy about that. It's really cool. And so, to touch on what cameras I've been using, so as I said earlier, my first camera was the Nikon D5200. I used that for a very long time. I probably pushed the limits of that camera a few times. I did winter retreat videos. That was a really fun project, but I was out in below freezing temperatures in a camera with no protection for it. It was probably bad on my part, but I learned. And I made my first 2 mountain bike documentaries with it. Both of those showed at the Lincoln Theater in Mount Vernon, Washington. So I don't think that I can express how grateful I am for that camera. That camera opened a lot of doors for me, and it kind of opened my eyes to see what was really possible with a camera, and that honestly the camera doesn't matter. It's how you frame up your subject and how you edit and all of that makes a good product. I mean, a good camera definitely will aid in that, but I think it really comes down to the operator. And I think Jay probably touched on that quite a bit in episode 1, and I wholeheartedly agree with that, because it's true. You can have the best camera on earth and still have a really terrible product. But if you know what you're doing and you really love what you're doing, I feel like you can make something really good no matter what. And so I had my Nikon for about 5 years, I want to say. And then I fairly recently bought this camera that I'm videoing with right now. And it's the Panasonic GH5S. And wowza, it is an amazing camera. I was bouncing back and forth between the Sony a7S II, the Sony RX10 Mark IV, and the Panasonic GH5. And then they announced the Panasonic GH5S, which had some pretty noticeable upgrades from the GH5. And I did research for months and months and months on all of these cameras. And I finally narrowed it down to either the A7S Mark II, the GH5, or the GH5S. And after a bunch of back and forth, I finally decided on the Panasonic GH5S. And my reasoning behind that was that the GH5S could record 1080 footage at 240 frames per second. It has a slight crop on the image, but it's not terribly noticeable unless you zoom your image way in and you're doing pixel peeping and you're just counting each individual pixel, which is just, that's not how people view content. So it wasn't something I was worried about. And then it had some big upgrades from the GH5 in low light, and I've been able to work on those quite a bit. I mean, do a little bit of testing with that. I've been very impressed with it. The detail that this camera is able to get is very, very, very impressive. And I'm super excited because I've been planning the production of my next bike documentary. It's called Local, a bike movie. It's all about local bike riders on local trails. And I'm really hoping, and I think I've actually found quite a bit of local music, local artists, to feature in the movie. And so that movie has been 100% dependent on this camera. And I'm so excited to get that going. And it's coming soon. I'm so happy that it's started, because I think I started planning it probably 2 years ago. And it's finally here. I'm just so excited about that. So I'd say that's probably everything that I've got video-wise so far. I mean, definitely video production is a constantly evolving, constantly growing field. So it's not like this is where it ends at all. But I would say the next thing I would like to just touch on is my business. Just to give a little bit of background, me as a business owner and kind of the business in general. Just to kind of give a little bit of a taste of what I'm trying to get accomplished with my company. So my company, Holboy Entertainment, I started it in 2014, I want to say. I was 17 and I was looking around at the area, the Northwest Washington, and I didn't see many video production companies that were really making anything for small businesses. And so I thought, why not create a way to fill that need? And so at 17, I got my business license, I bought my computer, I bought my camera, I got all of these things together so that I could fill that need. And I very slowly started building an audience. I'm still slowly building an audience, and I'm hoping that this podcast can grow that audience so that more people can see the videos and occasionally the photos that I create for those small companies. Because I just think that video production is such a huge part that more companies need to take advantage of, and not many are doing it. And so I'm trying to change that. And that's kind of the thing about Holboy Entertainment, is that I'm trying to give everybody the asset of video production. And I'm trying to work with them so that it doesn't make them absolutely cash poor, and just work with them, make something really cool, make an introduction video to start off, and then kind of go from there and see where it goes with their company. I like to keep an eye on local companies so that I can see how they're using video, how they're using photo, and how I could maybe work myself into that. And so the first year or two, it was really slow moving. I didn't do a whole lot, but then probably the third year, I want to say, maybe third or fourth, I just stopped. It was the third year. So 2017, I didn't make anything for Holboy Entertainment because I took a step back so that I could take a better look at my industry and see what people were doing, what people were liking, what small businesses were doing, what they were liking. And I just really slowly kind of got a good idea of what people like to see, what they want. And I learned a lot. It was really great. Worked on a whole bunch of commercials, whole bunch of productions for the city of Mount Vernon. And I just got a really good idea of what I wanted to be offering with my company. And so it was probably late 2017, I decided that it was time to kind of restart Holboy Entertainment, start committing to it a little bit more. And that's pretty much what I did. So I started making travel vlogs when I go on my road trips across the country for Huck Wagons. And it's been really great, and I'm really excited to be doing all of this because I was originally planning to do a 30-day content challenge where I post a video every single day for a month. I was going to do that in August, but things are piling up a little differently. I started this podcast. And so what I'm thinking instead is I'm probably going to be starting that in September. And I'm very, very excited about that because I just think it's going to be a really nice challenge. And I think I could potentially challenge other local businesses to do the same and see something interesting can come of that. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I'm just very excited to see where my business goes. It's not mainly, I like making commercials for small businesses, but the main thing is mountain bike documentaries. It's just my favorite thing because mountain biking is such a deep love of mine, and to capture other people's joy in video form is just fantastic. Yeah, and I've been very lucky to be given the opportunities with filming and photography and doing photo of mountain biking in the past, and I'm just so happy that I've gotten those opportunities. I think that's all I've got to say for episode 2 of the Holboy Entertainment Industry Podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this. This is a little bit shorter than the episode 1, but this is just me talking. I'm just trying to give a little bit of an introduction to who I am and what I do, so that I can, in the future, focus more on who I'm interviewing and bringing onto the show. And, I'm definitely going to give my opinion still, but I wanted to let the listeners and the viewers know who I am more, so that they have a better idea of who the host of this show is. So I'm very excited to see where this podcast goes in the future, and I'm hoping that you enjoy it. And if you enjoy what you're listening to or watching, please hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at Wesley Holboy. Shoot me a message, tell me what you think, tell me what you want to know more about. On Facebook, go to the Holboy Entertainment page and say what you think. Give me some ideas of questions. That'd be really great. If there's anything that you want to know about local business owners, local photographers, local videographers, if there's anything that I have not asked or I'm not asking, please give me some ideas, because I would love to know what you guys want to know about these people that I interview, because I think that'd be really cool. So I will see you in the next episode.